Born Guilty or Born Natural? Sin, Conditioning, and the Architecture of Identity by Rue. Imagine entering existence already indicted, and the world is already prepared to condemn you before your first word, before your first decision, before awareness even stabilizes in your nervous system. Imagine being told that your default setting is guilt, that your very birth carries moral debt. Some doctrines begin there, not with curiosity, not with observation, but with condemnation. And this lecture is not an attack on belief. It is an examination of psychology. What happens to a developing mind that is told it is flawed at its core? What happens when identity is introduced through shame rather than awareness? We must slow down and separate poetry from programming. If a child lies, is it metaphysical corruption or imitation? If a human harms, is it inherited evil or conditioned behavior inside systems of scarcity, trauma, reward, punishment, and survival? Behavior does not appear in a vacuum. It is shaped, modeled, reinforced, sold. Yes, sold. Because in the world we live in, both virtue and vice are monetized. Fear is monetized. Desire is monetized. Morality itself is packaged, branded, distributed. So when we are told we are born sinners, we must ask, who benefits psychologically from that framing? A person who believes they are broken at the root will seek external authority for repair. A person who believes they are inherently corrupt will outsource their moral compass. That is not spirituality. That is dependency architecture. Now contrast that with another lens, one far older than modern institutional structures. In ancient cosmological frameworks, humanity was not described as fallen from nature, but emerging from it. The forces that animated wind, water, soil, flame, growth, those same forces animated the human being. These were described as Neteru, principles, forces, expressions of natural law, not distant judges, not cosmic prosecutors, forces, patterns, energies operating within and around existence. Under that view, you were not born in opposition to creation. You are an expression of it. If everything we see manifests from earth, bone from mineral, blood from water, breath from atmosphere, then how can the human be separate from nature? You are not an intrusion. You are continuity. What we call good and bad behaviors are adaptive responses within environments. A child raised in violence adapts to violence. A child raised in stability adapts to stability. That is not inherited damnation. That is neurological learning. And this does not remove responsibility. It clarifies it. If behavior is shaped by structure, then changing structure changes behavior. If humans are natural, then harmony comes from alignment with natural law, not from internalized shame. This lecture is not dismissing spirituality. It is reframing identity. Because how you define human nature determines how you define morality. If you believe you were born broken, your life becomes a repair project. If you believe you were born responsive, your life becomes a refinement process. The question is not whether harm exists. It does. The question is whether guilt is your origin or your conditioning. Perhaps you were never born a sinner. Perhaps you were born a participant in nature, learning through environment, shaped by systems, capable of awareness, capable of adjustment. And once you remove inherited condemnation, something powerful happens. Responsibility returns to you. Not fear, not shame, awareness. Because if you were not cursed at birth, then your growth is not about escaping your nature. It is about understanding it. And when you understand that you are not separate from the forces that animate existence, that what the ancients described as Neteru are not outside you, but expressed through you, then guilt loses its grip, and responsibility becomes conscious rather than imposed. You were not born guilty. You were born natural. And nature, when understood, does not demand shame. It demands alignment. Ashe.